Hi there guys. We're going to have a look at what is a very rare Lee Enfield variant. And no, this is not something that Bubba came up with in his garage on the weekend. This is actually a factory-made rifle. It was manufactured in this configuration. And this rifle is an E.A.L, Essential Agencies Limited of Ontario, Canada. Manufactured these rifles for the Canadian Armed Forces, more specifically for the Royal Canadian Air Force, I believe, the bulk of them. And these were used as survival rifles on aircraft which were overflying remote areas. They were also used later on by some of the Northern Ranger units. And these are not modified from older number 4s. They were actually manufactured in this configuration. We start off at the butt of the rifle. You'll notice that there is a red rubber recoil pad. This one's actually still in quite good shape. It's very soft still, even though it's getting quite a bit of years on it. And that's attached with 2 screws. The buttstock has a pistol grip, and it's walnut, oil finished walnut. The forend is a newly manufactured walnut forend, also with a oil finish on it, and it features front sling swivels which are the same as the rear sling swivels, the only difference being the length of the screws which hold the sling swivels on. These rifles were built with new action bodies. You can see that there is no provision for a rear sight on the receiver of this variant. There is another variant of this rifle which has a receiver-mounted aperture sight, but this version mounts the sight on the barrel like a sporting rifle. And you can see the caliber designation here, 303 caliber, and E.A.L, and the serial number. These parts, these rifles were made up with these new receivers and mostly long branch parts. You can see it's got the later style long branch stamped trigger guard and the long branch style safety catch and so forth. We've got a Canadian broad arrow stamp on the Knox form of the barrel. Sights in this rifle consist of a 2-position leaf type express sight mounted on the Knox form of the barrel in a dovetail. They have a square notch. You can see there's the low range one. It's marked 200 yards, and the other one is taller, of course, and it's marked 400 yards. And they are both cross hatched a bit on the back to reduce glare. The front sight is a sporting style front sight on this ramp with serrations to reduce the glare, and it's actually a commercial sight. It's actually a Marples front sight, and that's held onto the barrel with a screw at the front. A little bit different profile to the action body because we don't have the rear sight mounted on the back, so we end up with this rather streamlined looking receiver, and it uses a standard style of Lee Enfield bolt. Basically a number 4, a late style number 4 Lee Enfield. These rifles use the number 4 Mark 1 style of trigger. The trigger is actually hinged to the trigger guard, and unlike the Mark 2 style, which hinges the trigger to a block which has been brazed to the receiver, so the trigger actually comes out when you take the trigger guard out. These have the long branch stamped style trigger guard. Alright, let's have a look at the mag that came with this E.A.L rifle. It comes out like the standard Lee Enfield mag catch at the front of the trigger guard. This one is not an original mag for this rifle. This is a 5-rounder, which is the appropriate size for these. However, this particular one is manufactured by, let's see if I can get it in focus there. It's a Parker Hale mag. I don't know if we can see that or not. It's pretty shiny. There we go. It's actually made in Japan for Parker Hale Limited. Apparently, this was not uncommon as a replacement magazine for these rifles while they were in military service. The original mags for these were basically a 10-round mag body with cut and a new floor plate soldered or brazed onto the bottom. And I guess they weren't that common in the supply system, so commercial magazines were often procured as replacements. And like I mentioned, this is a 5-round mag. Loads like any other Lee Enfield mag would load. You want to be sure that when you load these, you keep the rims in front of each other so that you don't hinder the feeding. But the smaller size of the 5-round mag is kind of handy. It lets the rifle be carried a little more easily. You can wrap your hand around the receiver to carry the rifle, and was a very popular modification for Lee Enfield's modified for sporters. Alright, let's give this thing a go. 5 rounds of hand loads, 174 grain Hornady round nose bullet. Usually shoots well in most 303s. We'll see how it likes the E.A.L rifle. Sight set to the 200-yard position, which is as low as they go.